Welcome to the Sellin' Podcast with Jeffrey Greif. Jeffrey has spent more than 45 years in sales and marketing. And for more than 25 years, he's presented sales seminars from large corporations to small businesses, as well as teaching university students all about the pride and passion of sales. Now, he's sharing that knowledge and practical advice with you to fast-track your journey to sales success. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or ideas, this is the Sellin' Podcast. And now your host, Jeffrey Greif.
This is the third session where we will be discussing Sales 101. As mentioned in the last episode of the Sellin' Podcast, there are 3 steps to being an effective salesperson, an effective marketer. Step 1, building upon the relationships you already have with your existing clientele. Step number 2, prospecting, developing new business. And step 3, expanding your network to support your clients, your prospects, to support your industry and your friends. Today, we'll be talking about prospecting, developing new business. Ask yourself this question: who is my ideal client? How do I find them? Where do they hang out? And then go hang out there. Write this down. Who is my ideal client? How do I find them? Where do they hang out? And go hang out there. This question, this important strategy, was taught to me by my business coach, Tom Kelly, of Potential in Motion. Since working with Tom Kelly, I have created the Sellin' Podcast to teach professionals all over the world about sales. I have continued to be one of the top salespeople in my industry. I have continued to win national sales awards of recognition, and I've stayed ahead of the curve with regard to increased competition, hyperspeed changes in technology, and the changing landscape within the industry with which I sell. Also, among other things, I've lost about 15 pounds, and several years ago I stopped drinking. Tom, what have you done for me lately? Sure, I do all the work, but Tom is on my team and he's a resource to help me achieve my business and my personal goals. Melanie, my podcast editor extraordinaire, let's link Tom Kelly's LinkedIn page in our Sellin' Podcast notes. Now, back to our story. Today we'll be talking about prospecting and developing new business. Ask yourself this question: who is my ideal client? How do I find them? Where do they hang out? And go hang out there. How do we find the people we want to do business with? Number 1, ask your clients. Ask your clients this question: who do you know who I should know? Who else in the industry are you interacting with who I should know? Also ask, who do you know who I should know? And do you feel comfortable in making introductions? As mentioned in the previous episode of the Sellin' Podcast, your clients want to help you. They want you to be a success, but you gotta ask. Why? Because your clients, like everyone else, are preoccupied. Your clients are dealing with their own business, their own life. They are thinking about a whole lot of other things, business, personal. I read an article many years ago where it was estimated by some psychologist somewhere at some time that every day we have about 100,000 thoughts that run through our minds. Can you imagine that? 100,000 thoughts. I don't have any idea how the heck they count thoughts. Some insane psychologist, I suppose, sitting there with a patient saying, that's thought number 311. That's thought number 312. That's thought number 342. The point is, we all have hundreds of thousands of thoughts running around in our mind every single day. Your clients are no different. They are thinking about a whole lot of other things. We all are. So, while your clients want to help you and they want you to succeed, let's face it, they just aren't thinking about you all that much. You gotta ask them. You gotta ask your clients, who do you know who I should know? And do you feel comfortable making introductions? Clients will help you, but you gotta ask. So, How do we find the people who we want to do business with? Number one, first and foremost, ask your clients. Number two, the LinkedIn search bar. Did you know that in addition to finding people, you can search a whole host of items on the LinkedIn search bar? You can search for people, of course, yes, and services, posts, groups, jobs, courses you might want to take, companies, products, schools and universities, events, and so much more. Type in the product you sell or type in the service that you sell, and definitely type in the industry that you are in. And you will find thousands of people, thousands of companies, trade associations, networking events, and so much more. Use the LinkedIn search bar to find the people who you want to do business with. The LinkedIn search bar is a very valuable resource. And I have a secret for you. I have found out that almost no one uses it, other than sometimes people will use it to find other people. But now you know what I know. The search bar on LinkedIn is a valuable resource that you can use to find trade associations, networking events, and so much more. Nobody's using it. Don't let that be you. Use the LinkedIn search bar. Number three, networking events. I love attending networking events. I love it, and everybody who knows me knows that I love attending networking events. Networking events and trade association events. I am going to do an entire episode on networking events. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to do at least 2 or 3 episodes on the Sellin Podcast with regard to networking events. I will post these on future episodes of the Sellin Podcast. But for now, for this episode, we are discussing thinking about who your ideal client is, finding out where they are hanging out, and spending some time hanging out with them. Networking events are so important. Again, ask your clients. Memorize this question and ask all of your clients, what trade associations do you belong to? What networking events do you attend and why? And do you think I would benefit from attending those events? Memorize this, write it down and memorize it. What trade associations do you belong to? What networking events do you attend? Why do you attend them? And do you think I would benefit from attending those events? Ask your clients and ask them once a year. And then when you are at a trade association and a networking event, ask just about everyone you meet, what other trade associations do you belong to? What other networking events do you attend? Why do you attend them? And do you think I would benefit from attending those events? Very important. Ask that question of your clients and ask that question of everybody that you meet at trade association events and networking events. Number 4, ask people you meet. Who do you know who may benefit from my product or service? Ask everybody you know. Ask everybody I know, Jeffrey? Yes, everybody, all of them, everybody you meet. I was at a networking event a few years ago, and a business person who I know came up to me. We had a very pleasant conversation. I do business with his firm, some of the people in his firm. However, he and I do not have the ability to refer business directly to one another. He asked me, Jeffrey, you know, I specialize in this type of business. I know that you and I are unable to refer any business directly to one another. However, Jeffrey, do you know anyone who you can introduce me to who I may have an opportunity to do business with? I've always liked this person. We have a rapport with one another. We have a business friendship with one another. But I have never thought of introducing him to anyone. It just didn't come to mind. That weekend, I reviewed my database, and subsequently, I have made face to face introductions with 3 professionals who he may have an opportunity to do business with. I like this person, but I didn't think of giving him a referral until he asked, and I am happy to refer him to others. I didn't think about it until he asked. So When you meet people, everyone, make sure people know what you do, make sure people know what you sell, and ask them if they can introduce you to anyone who you may be able to do business with. Number 5, Googling. By the way, is Googling really a word? I use that word all the time. Is it a real word? Well, now that we're using it on the Sellin podcast, it is a real word. Googling. At least once a year, usually sometime between Christmas and New Year's, I am Googling to find trade association and networking events in my industry. Why once a year? Because things change. Let me give you a couple of examples. Many years ago, I attended a networking event that I thought was kind of lame. Not many people there, and the panelists were, to be frank, weak. I decided that that group was not an effective group for me, and attending their events was not a good use of my time. A few years later, I was Googling networking events, and I saw that one of my clients was going to be a panelist on one of the panels for this particular networking group. So I attended, and guess what? The quality of that networking group, that networking event, had so much improved that now I never miss a single event that they host. Never. Yes, things change, industries change, organizations change, technology changes, people change, and trade associations and networking events change too. And you never know when a new trade association or networking event is going to be created. So once a year, do your Googling. And here's my favorite story about Googling trade associations and networking events once a year. There is a trade association that I am interested in. However, their annual conferences were always far from my home across the country. And as an untested entity, I didn't really want to commit to a plane flight, hotel room, time, effort, expense for an organization that I didn't really know that much about. Well, as I mentioned before, once a year while Googling, I found that this trade association was having their annual convention about a 2-hour drive from my home. Now I'm interested. I attended that event. It was wonderful. I met a lot of people that I could do business with. And within a year of attending that event, I started doing business with 4 new clients, one of whom gave me a $95 million transaction. You better believe that I was happy that I spent 15 minutes Googling trade association and networking events that Christmas New Year time. Believe me, it's well worth the once a year Googling search. And while I'm at it, number 6, talk to strangers. I understand you may not find your ideal client, but do it anyway. Talk to strangers. When you are in an elevator, by the way, when you're in an elevator, you have a captive audience. They're not going anywhere. When you are in an elevator, when you are online at a grocery store, when you are in the locker room of a golf club, when you are at a doctor's office, when you are at a party, wherever you are, ask people what they do and then tell people what you do. Yes, talk to strangers. And when you're asking people what they do and then telling people what you do, ask them if they know anyone who they can introduce you to, who you may have an opportunity to help, who you may have an opportunity to sell your product or service to, an opportunity to do business with. And for people who already know what you do, what product or service you sell, ask them again and again. Ask your friends over and over again. They trust you. You have a rapport with them. They're your friends. Ask them over and over again who they might know who would benefit from your product or service. I do. Do I think my friends are annoyed by this? I don't know. I never really thought about it, but I don't think so. And it's okay because they're my friends. Make sure that everyone you meet knows what you sell and ask them to introduce you to people who might benefit from your product or service that you sell. Everyone, Jeffrey? Yes, everyone. You might feel uncomfortable at first. You know what? I'm going to rephrase that. You will feel uncomfortable at first, but do it anyway, over and over again. When you're meeting with people, even strangers, tell them what you do and ask them if they know anyone who would benefit from the product or service that you sell. You're going to feel uncomfortable at first, but do it anyway. You're training your brain that it's okay to feel discomfort. I love the Tony Robbins quote. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of discomfort that you can deal with. I live by that quote, and anyone who knows me knows that I live by that quote. Everyone, and it's one of the reasons why I am a successful salesperson. Write this down, write down this quote, and post it on the mirror of your bathroom for you to see in the morning. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of discomfort that you can deal with. Ask everyone you know if they know anyone who you can do business with. Prospecting for new business. Remember to ask yourself this question. Who is my ideal client? How can I meet them? Where do they hang out? And go hang out there. Now get out there and sell.
We hope you found this episode of the Sellin' Podcast helpful and of interest. Please make sure to like, rate, and review. And mention this podcast to a friend or a business associate. Have a comment about this podcast? Have a topic you'd like Jeffrey to discuss? Feel free to contact Jeffrey directly at jeffrey@sellin.net. He'll read and review every one of your emails. That's Jeffrey at SELLN.net. .net as in networking for success in sales. Now, take what you've learned today and get out there and sell. See you next time on the Sellin' Podcast.